VALORANT is seeing success in the NA, EMEA, Pacific, and the Chinese region, while seeing representations from South America, Turkey, APAC, and the South Asian regions. But there is one particular region where Valorant attempted to break in, but abandoned the concept. This is where I ask the question, what the fuck happened to the Oceanic scene in Valorant? Let's start from the very beginning when Valorant was announced to the world in 2020. Riot announced their first major esports tournament called First Strike on September 23rd, 2020. They announced the regions which will have a First Strike tournament, which of course included North America, Europe, Korea, and Asia Pacific. Some broader regions like Turkey, CIS, and Middle East, and North Africa, and of course, Oceania. The tournament was won by ExoClan, the then best team in the Oceania region, who beat their longtime rival Order in the grand final to bring home 8,000 Australian dollars or 5,945.10 US dollars. Other teams included Dire Wolves, Mindfreak, Wildcard Gaming, and Legacy Esports that people might know. ExoClan joined an exclusive club which includes 100 Thieves, BBL Esports, and Team Heretics as the only teams to win a First Strike tournament. Jumping to 2021, Riot announced with the LPL to create the Valorant Oceania Tour, where of course, Oceania players and teams can compete and potentially play at the international level. After 3 stages of the tournament spanning from February all the way to August, 8 teams had the chance to qualify to the North American LCQ to potentially qualify to the first Champions event in Berlin. At the end, it was Order and newcomers Peace, later becoming Chief Esports Club, have successfully qualified to the NA LCQ. But after something called COVID happened, Riot announced they were unable to bring the 2 Oceania teams to the US, stopping both Order and Chief Esports Club from potentially qualifying to champs and even playing against the North American teams on a LAN event. But to be fair, that event was a hellhole at its own, so if you want to check out my video about it, go over here. This would effectively end their run to champs, ending their season as well by no fault to their own. But during the 2021 season, there was a massive turn in the Oceania region, as the ExoClan roster of Bob, Lion, Plix, Dizzy Life, and Crunchy joined the North American team, Sonics. Where the only notable thing that happened, other than winning some third-party tournaments, was them getting a map of the freshly winning Sentinels team after their dominance shown in Reykjavik during the Stage 3 Open qualifiers. But the Aussie experiment didn't last, as Plix would be moved to the inactive roster and be replaced by Jae Sung. Remember when I said in my NALCQ video why couldn't they just compete in the APAC region? Well, that hit the right headquarters too, as in 2022, it was announced the winner of the OCE Championship would qualify to the APAC LCQ. Not only that, but the winner of the Stages 1 and 2 Oceania Tour would qualify to the APAC Challenges to qualify to the Master events. For the APAC Challenges, it was Bonkers in Stage 1 and Order in Stage 2 to qualify to the APAC Challenges, both finishing 9th and 12th. As for the APAC LCQ, it was Order who won in the grand final against Bobo to qualify to the LCQ, and after winning against both Vietnamese teams of Fantasy United Esports and Cerberus Esports, they will get knocked out by Team Secret to finish 5th through 6th in the tournament, which is pretty good for an Aussie team. Moving to 2023 and it's a new era of Valorant Esports, mainly with the announcement of the partnership program from Riot. While there weren't any Oceania teams to be part of this system though, there were 2 notable figures which were signed to partnership teams. Firstly, the most notable one was Ronski, a player which came from Order and was a duelist for them. He joined Global Esports in their weird SK Rossi texture Ballsy roster, which didn't work out for him. The second one was a massive surprise though, being the coach of gen.g Esports Elmer Putty. Now, Elmer Putty has been the coach for gen.g since 2021, which is good and all, but that was with an NA team, not a Korean team, which they became for partnership, so it was a really weird choice. But I digress. While Ronski and Elmer Putty were living up in partnership, it was slightly different for the Oceania scene. At the end of the 2022 season, the best team in the region, Order, left the scene. Why? Because they went bankrupt. The reason was because of rapid growth in the esports scene, which didn't work out for them, of course, as back in August they entered the voluntary administration due to the financial state of the org. Even though they did raise over $5 million in private investments in 2021 and had promising results across different games like League of Legends, CSGO, and Valorant. The only thing left is their X account or Twitter, which has basically trolled the previous owners to pay the players they ditch and just shit posting, but they haven't posted since 2024, so I truly think it's dead. So now we need to crown a new king in the Oceania region, and it was between two teams, Bobo and 95X Esports. And first it was 95X Esports who took first blood after winning in the grand final in a close 3-2 victory against Bobo. Moving to Stage 2, it was going to be the exact same as last stage, with Bobo and 95X Esports going together. Oh, never mind, it seems that Bobo had disbanded a full month before the grand final. But I'll be honest, I hear you ask, how? I'll be honest, I have no idea how, but they're probably saying they were disbanding after Stage 1, so it was a good way to end with a competitive finish. But what about 95X Esports? Surely they could be the new order, the new kings of our... Nope, never mind, they've also left the scene as well. Yep, just hours before their match against Koopa Troopers, it was announced that the players would play for 95X Esports for the final time and would be later named as Bonkers. The org did announce this after the match as well on X. While I couldn't find anything about them having financial problems and whatnot, I imagine they have left the esports scene entirely, as their other two ventures of Halo and Rocket League are also listed as disbanded. But that is okay, as even with the counter and measure of disruptions of leaving orgs, the now called Bonkers did win in the grand final against Nerdpund in a convincing and 3-0 fashion to qualify to the Ascension APAC tournament in Bangkok, and my god did they impress. The roster of Watt, Minimize, RDW, Dragon, Lu, and Seiko, along with Coach From, impressed the Thai crowd, not only making a huge upset against the Korean team D+, which had players like Esperanza, Lakiar, and Estrella, and coaching staff of Solo and Perry, they even made it to the playoffs in dramatic fashion. While they did lose to Boom Esports in the quarterfinals, it was still an amazing and underdog story from Ascension, much like over in the EMEA region where the Portuguese team Saw did amazing as well. But that was it for the Oceania region of VCT in 2023. But in 2024, it was building off the amazing performance in 2023 from Bonkers with more teams and more competition. Joining Bobo, who returns from inactivity, Focus GG, Arena Internet Cafe, JFT Esports, GG How Bonk, and of course, Gooners, who were renamed to Edge for some reason. I wonder why. We're all competing to be the best Oceania team. Before we go to Split 1, let's get an update on what's going on the partnership side. While Wrongski left Globe Esports and Elwood as well left gen.g to join Fnatic as their new head coach, the biggest news was the introduction of China, which saw a few players from the Oceania region joining the league. The biggest one, of course, was Autumn joining FunPlus Phoenix, who became the first Aussie player to play on the international stage at Master Shanghai. The others included Plix for Wolves Esports, and joining in Stage 1, Swell for Nova Esports. Moving back to the Oceania region Split 1, it was Zhihao Bonk, the former Bonkers squad, who were bought out by Chinese org Zhihao, who won the first split with a 3-1 victory against Arena Cafe. But during the tournament, it was announced on the 10th of April that Rub and Pug player Blob Blob Blob, yes, that is actually his gamer tag, was banned for 8 months due to derogatory or defamatory comments made during the lobby of an official match, where he might have maybe said the N-word. I'm not entirely sure, but that's from a Twitter commenter, so take that with a grain of salt. That's not the end though, as there were 2 other competitive rulings as well. The first being on the 26th of April, 2 weeks since Blob Blob Blob's ruling. Penguin Club player Sungyi was banned from all Riot Games events due to, once again, defamatory, derogatory, vulgar, provocative, or hateful comments made in a ranked match. Go figure. While the second one was two arcade esports players Rai and Lamb, who were banned from Riot Games events and gave the team owner Jason Zoller a warning due to gambling. Yes, gambling here in the Oceania scene. But after all of that, we moved to Split 2, where the winner would qualify to Ascension, and it started off really badly again. As 4 players, Malzong 2K4 from Bobo, along with Jelly D, Norson, and Fweshes from Front Crew, were banned from Riot Sanction events for 8 months due to, and I'm not kidding, drawing a penis on a wall with Odin's in a video from Malzong 2K4. I don't know if that's true, as after searching his YouTube page, I couldn't find the clip, but that's just what I saw on Twitter replies under the post, so take it as well with a grain of salt. But after all of that, with Fun Crew forfeiting all of their matches due to the bans, JFT Esports won in the grand final against, once again, Arena Internet Cafe 3-1 to qualify to Ascension, where after winning against Rapid Lo-Fi, would be knocked out by Riddle to replace a respectable 5th through 6th place finish. As for Split 3, unlike all the other splits, there was no banned players, and GG How Bonk would win the final split against Focus GG 3-1 in the grand final. Whew, well, that was a wild 2024. Hopefully 2025 will be better, right, guys? Firstly, the partnership side. The only big thing was Plix leaving Wolves Esports, which isn't surprising due to their results after Stage 1. Elmo Putty would also leave Fnatic. No other changes for Autumn and Swell, while some commentators like Plisky and Komodo joining Pacific, and the rap god himself Uber joining the Americas broadcast. As for the Oceania region, it was pretty smooth sailing, but the problem was that majority of the really good teams like JFT Esports, Focus GG, and Arena Internet Cafe all left. GG How Bonk then became E-King, and majority of the Arena Internet Cafe players formed Full House. But at least Boba was still there, so at least that's good enough. And the result of all this, it was not competitive. In Split 1, it was a 3-1 win for E-King against Full House, which was the same as Split 2. But an Australian org by the name of Fury acquired Bandit ESC to join the Oceania region, which didn't go well. They came last in their group. But just like in 2024, we have another competitive ruling. As in another, I mean 2. The first one was 4 players from Edge being suspended. Myth was suspended for 6 months due to in-competition account sharing during the match between Edge and Abbas and friends, while Blessed, Ace, and Exorcist were suspended for a month due to not reporting Myth to the organizers. The second one was during the playoffs, where Viva Side Hustle player Joms was found by Riot's anti-cheat to have a cheating software, which probably happened on the low bracket final between E-King, as it was the day after the match, which, if that's the case, is really embarrassing since they lost. But moving to Ascension, the Oceania region had E-King to represent them in Thailand, which didn't go too well, as they finished 5th and last in their group, failing to qualify to the playoffs. But hopefully, 2026 will be great, right? Oh, it seems that Riot has announced the Oceania region will not have a challenger scene, as according to Riot, quote, "We have not seen the growth we had hoped for." While it isn't all doom and gloom, as they did announce the top performer in the premier teams will have a spot in the LCQ, which is, surprise surprise, E-King, or now Yijing, where they would come 3rd, just missing out on the grand final after losing to 555 to qualify to Stage 2 of the Pacific region. As for the partnership side, Swell left Nova while Autumn left FPX to join Global Esports, helping them to qualify to Masters London, along with the only Kiwi signed who joined EDG as a coach before Masters London. As for the commentators, Komodo would leave the Pacific region after kickoff, with Elfish Guy joining the team, while over in the EMEA region, Natty would join the broadcast team as well. So you now might be wondering, what about the Game Changer scene? Well, the Game Changer scene is looking pretty good, as the region is still going on, much better than the Challenger scene, which is basically non-existent. They are currently in Split 2 with the winner qualifying to the GC Pacific tournament to qualify to the main Game Changers Championship. So at least there are still some important tournaments going on in the Oceania region, but that's probably it, all I can think of. Well, let's now look into the future. As Ryan announced what the 2027 schedule will look like, the partner teams will go down from 10 to 8 in all regions and reintroducing the open qualifiers, which means any team can qualify to the Cups, Masters, and Champions events. It is worth pointing out they will be part of the wildcard regions like the Philippines, South Asia, and Malaysia and Singapore regions. So the Oceania region isn't dead, but it is slowly coming back to life, mainly thanks to the Esports World Cup qualifiers, as both Australia and New Zealand were in contention to qualify to the main event, with the Kiwis winning against the Aussies 2-1, joining Vietnam in the Sea and Oceania qualifiers. Along with some great Oceania players in the scene like Autumn in GE, Bob in Rise of the Scarlet Emprise, yes, that's a real name, as well as players like Minimize, Swell, Feta, and Biggie Cheese. Hopefully this can change Riot's mind on supporting the Oceania region once again. So that's really about it for me. I hope you guys enjoyed this little video about the Oceania region in Valorant, which of course is almost non-existent. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Catch you guys the next time in the next one. Goodbye.